if you would take just a moment to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Vicki. I sure will. Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Flores Higgins, and I am the Director of Member Relations for CCL. I work out of the headquarters in Coronado, California. This is my 6th year with CCL, and it's going to be my 7th trip to Washington, D.C. I'm so excited about it. You'll see me there helping out with registration and with overall conference operations. Thanks for coming.
All right, thanks, Susan. Also, we have Amy Bennett, the aforementioned Amy Bennett, who is scheduling extraordinaire. Amy, if you would tell everyone a little bit about yourself, for people who may not have met you before or talked to you.
Yes, I'm in the San Diego area, a little bit north of headquarters, and I first met Marshall Saunders in 2007 at our little local Encinitas ecology event, and he had me at his laser talk, and I've been with him ever since. I've been with the organization ever since, and I handle the coordination of the schedules, and we'll be talking about the schedules in this presentation. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy. And I got to say that picture of you, that is such like a model shot with the wind blowing your hair. You look just perfect there. I really like that. All right. And then this is me. My name is Ricky Bradley. I'm a group leader for the Dallas, Texas chapter, and dabble around in some of the IT work, just enough to mess things up from time to time. All right, so with our agenda tonight, let's talk about what we are going to cover. We're going to go through the logistics of the conference, and we're going to do that in sort of chronological order. So we're going to start off with like the pre-conference materials you'll receive and what you'll get at the conference, and then we'll go through and show you where the conference agenda is, and the schedule, and what you'll receive in your folders. We'll review some details on transportation and those types of things before wrapping up tonight, talking about how to submit the meeting minutes when you're all done and ready. So to kick things off tonight, I am going to turn it over to Susan Higgins.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, let's start with what you're going to receive in an email from headquarters by Thursday, June 16th. That's a week from today. The first thing on the list is your lobbying schedule. Now, we're sending you these items before the conference to give you a chance to print them out, look them over, become familiar with them. So it's very important when you get this email to be ready for it. It will contain, as it says, your lobbying schedule, the bios for the members of Congress that you are scheduled to meet with, and if the local group or the liaison for that member of Congress was able to put a meeting plan together, you will also receive a meeting plan for the meeting that you're going to be with that member of Congress. So be on the lookout for potentially those 3 items for coming in your inbox. Now, as I mentioned, we want you to print those out ahead of time and bring them to the conference with you. Some of you may be traveling ahead of time before Thursday, and you might not be at home with your personal printer. Perhaps you can have a friend forward the email to a friend that's coming to the conference that can email it to you. Last resort, at the hotel, there is a business center where you can log in short term, and you can print out those materials right there at the hotel. It's essential that you get them printed out somehow. We will not have copies on site. So that's the key on that. Okay. So when you get the email, by all means, star it, save it, mark it, make it easy to find in case you want to review it again. If you don't see it in your inbox, check your spam. It might be in there. We have another recommendation, and that is once you have printed out especially your schedule and your bios, take a picture of it. If you have a smartphone, take a picture of it. So that way, even if by some chance you lose these pieces of paper, you'll at least have an electronic copy in your telephone. If you are a meeting lead, and you will know this, Amy will explain how you'll know if you're a meeting lead, but if you are, then we ask you to go directly to either the Senate.gov or the House.gov websites and verify that the member of Congress's office is correct on your schedule. Sometimes they move offices. So just take the time to verify that, and if there is a change, be sure to let the other members of your meeting team know where the new office is. Okay, so I think you've got all the do's and don'ts up there, Ricky. We're going to start, save it, print it, check spam, take photos, verify the building, and we're not going to delete it, archive it, or let the dog eat it. Phew. Now let's take it over to Amy.
Thanks so much, Susan. So you're going to get your schedule. We think you should be getting it in your email box by June 16th, and we please ask you to love your schedule. It's not going to be perfect, but it will reflect constituents and liaisons being placed in meetings as priority. Now, there's a lot of moving parts, and there's some meetings that overlap time, so keep in mind this is not perfect, but we want you to just love it. Expect about 3 lobby meetings total and about 5 to 6 CCL members in each meeting. We're asking you to welcome any non-constituent CCL members in your district or state meetings, and for those of you who are placed outside of your own state or district, please honor the meeting leader's facilitation. The meeting plans are based on the best experience and knowledge of the local chapter whose member that is. So why is it that we have some mixed meeting teams that include 5 to 6 volunteers, constituents, and some non-constituents? One Senate office just last week asked me, could we just have the 2 constituents attend? And that was certainly a reasonable request. But here's why we asked to have more people attend. We have 800 citizens who come to D.C. to learn and in part to lobby. Often there's too few constituents for one district and too many coming from another district. A lot of people coming from my state, California, for instance. And sometimes other CCLers who are not constituents may have some special expertise they can bring to the meeting. We're a team. Some of our citizen lobbyists would love other experienced CCLers around them because, you know, Washington can be a little bit intimidating, so it's really nice to have other experienced volunteers in the meeting. And it may sound a little bit selfish, but we want to have all the folks coming to the conference. 800 lobbying this year, many more coming in total. And we want them all to get several meetings so that they can kind of get the democracy bug. And this is so sorely needed right now. And this is how we grow the grassroots and get people to feel they can be engaged in solutions. So I want to show you a photo that kind of demonstrates this. Back in 2010, the first year we had the conference, we had, there we are, 27 of us, and we had a total of 52 congressional meetings. And a lot of the meetings all of us in that picture had, well, there was no constituents at all. We still asked for the meeting and many times got it, and there we were. Now, the next photo is last June, and one of the reasons we were able to grow to have the conference become this big, not the only reason, but one of the meetings is those folks gradually just started getting the democracy bug. They went to lobby meetings in D.C. and they said, I want to do this again. And they went back to their home districts and said, this was so great, we got to get more people doing this. So that's the reason we have the mixed teams and even more coming this year. So next up, we're going to talk about your schedule. And here's a sample schedule from last year. Please notice up in the upper right-hand corner the meeting ID. You'll need that for meeting minutes. The member of Congress's name, the state, the district, the time of the meeting, and you'll notice the liaison name. In this particular meeting, there was none. Staff in the meeting, it was Chris Stevens. And then also note all of the participants who are in the meeting. And then the next column shows the lead. That's Tony Cerna in this meeting. And then there's their contact information. So over on the far right, we have everyone's other meeting times. And this is really helpful if the meeting gets changed to know what other times they have meetings. And on the next slide, you'll see there's even more of those. Now, most meetings we get set, we're up to over 400, 450 right now, but we're going to have a lot more meetings that come in the final 2 weeks before the conference. Now, if the meetings get set 2 weeks ahead, we may be able to squeeze them in to the master schedule. Now, if the meeting is set just 1 week in advance, we usually have to refer that as a to be determined meeting. If we're relatively sure it's going to come in, we are going to label it to be determined, and that allows us to create a meeting team. As you see, there's 4 people listed below that are going to hopefully be in that meeting. But we don't know what time that meeting is. So that's why those other meeting times in the lower right-hand corner are so helpful, that immediately when the meeting comes in, the CCL liaison, who is listed here, Deborah Fink, she's going to be able to call or send an email to everybody on that team, and the lead is going to be able to organize everyone and say, okay, it looks like 3 of you can make that meeting time that has now finally been set. So that is how a to be determined or TBD meeting works out. You actually get to work it out with your meeting leader. And as soon as the appointment setter or liaison finds out that time, she's immediately in communication with the team. So that's how that works. Now, there do happen to be schedule changes, such as this, such as the meeting finally come in. But late additions or changes can have a domino effect on your schedule. Sometimes a meeting, though, actually gets changed by the congressional office. The member is called away, and they may contact the meeting lead or the appointment setter to change it. We ask that you do not make any changes unless absolutely necessary. If there's a clear data entry error, a volunteer is ill, or something like that, because your team expects you to be there. And the CCL leader, team leader, is the person responsible for coordinating those changes. So the team meeting leader is responsible for confirming that if a meeting gets changed, that there are actually attendees for that meeting. If you think for any reason you've got to change your schedule, what we ask is that you talk to request that change, talk to both leads. The lead of the meeting you think you might need to leave, and the meeting you might need to be added to. So again, request that by talking to both the existing lead that you have and the lead of the meeting you think you need to get into. And because without communications, a whole team might not exist. Now, to assist with late changes, we have got whiteboards that are going to be set up at the hotel. And so this is a little bit like speed dating for meeting changes. What the whiteboards are going to help us do, or help you do really, is 2 things. We're going to have one whiteboard area for meetings that have been changed, where the meeting leader says, I need more people to add to this meeting. The meeting got changed and I only have a few people. So he or she's going to list the meeting details and the time, and then you have that opportunity to say, oh, I could do that, and then contact that meeting lead. The second set of whiteboards are going to be where you, if you have openings and would like to add more meetings, you can put down your name, your contact information, and what open times you have. So a meeting leader who's looking for help can go to that set. We are going to have these whiteboards up and accessible for you to use. It's kind of self-serve, as I said, like speed dating for lobby changes. We're going to have these whiteboards up until Monday at 5 at the conference, because it has personal information, your contact information on it. We're going to take them down. Then we will put them up one last time at the Tuesday reception in case there are a few offices, congressional offices, that say, hey, we had to cancel, we're really sorry, is anybody still around on Wednesday? Normally we're not planning Wednesday meetings at all. This would be the instance where this might come up and we might be able to fill a meeting on that gets changed by the congressional office to a Wednesday. So if you think you're not going to have access to seeing that whiteboard anymore, I suggest, as Susan mentioned with your schedule, take a picture of it. So if it's on your phone and you can't get back to the whiteboard, you have a picture in your phone of it and can contact people. So that's about it for schedules. Let's stop for questions for a moment. But first, Ricky's going to say a few words about biographies and meeting plans. Ricky?
Yeah, thanks, Amy. And I really love the idea of the whiteboards this year. That's really cool, and hopefully, I'm sure actually it will be pulled off well. So thanks so much for thinking about doing that this year and helping everyone coordinate those last-minute changes. Now, as Susan talked about, one of the things you're going to receive in your packet or your email on June 16th are what are called the congressional bios. And for the past few months, CCL volunteers have been hard at work researching their members of Congress and organizing that information into our congressional biographies. And we use those to prepare ourselves for Lobby Day in June. On the screen right now, you see the top half of the first page of Senator Ben Cardin's bio. But let's talk about really what's on there a little bit for you, go into some detail. First up, there's biographical information. So there's information about when they were elected, when's their next election, the percentage of the vote that they won in their last election, so you can see like how safe of a district it is. Their schools attended, some background information on them, the religion, and the appreciation. What can we appreciate him or her for? Next up, we really have a lot of information on their congressional record, their voting records and relevant bills and statements. A lot of this is stuff that we're able to automate and pull from databases that are out there existing, such as votes on amendments and resolutions. But there's also a lot of information that liaisons and editors have been pulling from the internet, looking at people's positions and their statements on climate and energy, national security, all kinds of different things. And then the last section is really made up of district and state data. A lot of stuff, a lot of demographic information about the district, who are the major industries and major employers, who are the major donors, and then in the district as well, and what are their positions, not just of the donors, but the employers on climate change and carbon pricing. And so why all this information is relevant, I wouldn't expect anyone just to pull out one thing and jump on those things and use it as a weapon against anyone, but it's good to understand that all these things combined with their worldview help them shape their opinion on climate change and climate policy. So it's good for us to have that background so we can try to find common ground in what our shared values may be. Now, the last thing you're going to receive in your email next Thursday is a meeting plan. Now, again, Susan did mention that this is if available. So local CCL groups and liaisons have been submitting meeting plans. If there is one for your meeting, it will cover some suggested topic areas, some goals for the meeting, what the possible supporting ask is, and some questions you could get from the member, or you could actually give to the member of Congress, or staff to really open them up. And then if there's some background and some history with this member of Congress, the staff, what are some of the challenges you might face in the meeting? So it really helps us get prepared, review those laser talks and those communication skills practices on those specific topic areas. Now, I'll say this, it's very important to note that this is just what it's called. It's a meeting plan. Now, that means that things can happen during a meeting that require you to diverge from the plan, and that's okay. Don't follow this too rigidly, to be flexible. We want everyone to read the room and use the plan to help you prepare and think about the meeting, but don't go overboard. So next, Susan is going to talk a little bit about what to do when you arrive at the hotel, and then we're going to stop in just a second for some questions.
Okay, thank you, Vicki. Yes, let's talk about the hotel. Registration begins both Sunday and Monday at 8 a.m. We do encourage you to get to the registration no sooner than 8 o'clock. We do need time to set up first. But anytime between 8 and 9 a.m., that's the time to come by. And following this map, you'll see that at the bottom of the middle is the main entrance. And this is where you'll enter and exit the hotel during the breaks for lunch and dinner. But when you get there for the conference, enter the lobby and proceed forward, turn right toward the west elevators, and they are labeled there. Continue until you see the large staircase going down. Go down and turn right. And that's where you'll find the Regency Gallery. This is the kind of, well, it's just the area before the room where we'll be set up with registration tables. You come to our tables and pick up your name tag, and we'll also proceed further down where you pick up your program and your conference folders and any other materials that we're handing out there as well. Now, Amy and Livy and the whiteboard will be, you'll see where they're going to be located at that time too. They're going to be in that general region. Okay, is that everything on that part, Vicki? I think so. Okay, so now let's go over. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about what's inside your folder, because this is a lot of information. And the program booklet, this is going to be 28 pages, packed full of information, so you're going to want to put your name on it when you get it. It's going to really help you through the whole conference. You'll also get a meeting minutes form. Everyone gets one meeting minutes form. We're going to provide 3 copies of the asks. thinking you're going to at least 3 meetings, you might want to have 3 copies of the ask. They are the same this year for both the House and the Senate. In previous years, they might have been different, but this year they're the same. We have a fundraising booklet that we want each of you to have. There will also be all of the handouts for Sunday night's training. A sample of some of those handouts will be like a copy of the 2016 carbon pricing bills that have already been submitted, examples of supporting asks for your meetings, and something new this year called the action logic, which is going to be very interesting to kind of help you decide if this meeting goes this direction, what's the next step. So keep an eye out for all those materials on Sunday morning.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan. Okay, so why don't we do what we said we were going to do and stop for some questions here for just a moment. So a few of you have raised your hand. A few folks have typed questions into the chat window. Why don't we take one chat question, and then what I'll do is I see that, let's see, Ned, you have your hand raised, so I'll come to you right after we handle this question from the chat window. Give me 1 second, and Susan or Amy, feel free to jump in. The first question we have is, was June 6th really the deadline for meeting plans? If not, what is the final deadline? Amy, do you have the answer to that, or Susan?
Actually, I believe you would need, yeah, I think you would need to email liaisons at citizensclimate.org. Ricky, is that Ashley's email? I think she would have the answer to that if there's a way of getting them in late or not. Do not know the answer to that, but I would use her liaison's email and ask her that question if there's a way that you can still get it in.
Yeah, I think it's, so again, that email address, again, Amy, is liaisons at citizensclimate.org.
You know what, I'm just going to
Right?
look and see if just going to look and see if I can bring it up.
And I'm not going to mention whose name this is because I don't want to embarrass her, but the person who asked this question, I can honestly say that I did not finish my meeting plan in time either. One of the things I'm going to do, though, is when I get my schedule, is I'm going to send my meeting plan to those folks that are on the team. So that's another thing you can do if you did not finish your meeting plan in time, is you can, once you get your schedule, you'll see everyone who's supposed to be in the meeting. You can make sure they get a copy. All right.
And I have the email as liaison.coordinator@citizensclimatelobby.org. I believe that will work.
Okay, liaison coordinator at citizensclimatelobby.org. Well, we can come up with a longer name.
Coordinator.
Oh, liaisons.coordinator. All right, let's, now Ned, I'm going to unmute your line, see if you got your hand up. Why don't you go ahead, let us know where you're joining this from, and then go ahead and fire away with your question. Ned Grossnickel. Okay, maybe Ned didn't have a question, so we'll just lower the hand. Like again, if you want to ask your question, you can raise your little hand. Well, not little hand.
Oh, Ricky, this is Susan. Can I mention something real quick? There
Sure.
is going to be a liaison support call this coming Monday, June 13th. There's 2 liaison support calls. So if you have liaison questions, it's going to be Monday at either 10 a.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Pacific. And you can find the access information on the CCL calendar on CCL Community to get on that call.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan. All right, so we're going to do the Bill's question in the chat window, and then Allison will come to you right after this question. Bill asks, I live in Representative Lamar Smith's district in Texas. I won't make DC, but perhaps later I will meet with Mr. Smith. Can I get the results of the lobbying efforts to his office, or in fact, can I see whose offices were contacted and meetings fulfilled? So I'll start off, and then Amy and Susan, if you have anything you'd like to add. So Bill, the best thing to do to get previous meeting minutes to see like what's going on with your member of Congress is to contact the liaison for your district. We don't just send the meeting minutes out to everyone because of the confidentiality and the concerns and the privacy that, we're building these relationships, and there's some things that, we might want to keep a little private so that they can have trust in us. So I would suggest, if you don't know who the liaison is for that area, reaching out to your group leader or to your regional coordinator and asking them, and they'll let you know. And then that person will share the meeting minutes with you. Did you have anything you want to add to that, Susan or Amy?
No, that's exactly how I would have answered it.
Yes.
Right. I did something right. All right. Okay. Allison, you've got your hand raised. I'm going to unmute your line. We already know where you're joining us from, so go ahead and fire away with your question, Allison.
Well, this is going to be my first time going to DC. So any advice for first-timers?
Sure. Amy, Susan?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. Well, let's see. I would say dress comfortably for the conference, but plan on wearing something professional for the meeting. But you'll want comfortable walking shoes for the day on the Hill. There's a lot of walking, and some of our members actually carry a spare pair of shoes, and that can end up saving your feet. In the conference, it's air conditioned, so sometimes you want to take that into consideration. There is a lot of sitting sometimes in the mornings for the keynotes, but then there's a lot of walking back and forth between breakout sessions later in the day. It's a terrific event. I encourage you to get there early, go through your materials, take a picture of everything with your phone. We'll go into information about the Metro later in the call, but mostly, you'll be welcome. You'll be excited by the energy of the people there. Feel free to ask anyone a question, because a lot of people have been there before, and they're very eager to help you make this a life-changing event for you.
And I'll jump in. I really recommend, even if you've been through a group start workshop, or we're calling them now climate advocate trainings at 10 o'clock on Sunday, Allison, I highly recommend that training, and as many of the trainings as you can get to. We have some really great teachers, and I really enjoy, even if I've been to a lot of climate advocate trainings or group start workshops, I still loving hearing different presenters give them, because it really is about our methodology, our approach, and where we stress a lot of our active listening skills. And so I highly recommend the 10 o'clock on Sunday training, and as many other trainings as you can get to. These are really helpful once you get into the meetings.
Awesome. Thank you both. Allison, one thing I will say is just embrace it. It's so much fun once you get there and you walk out of that first meeting, and just remember that high, because it's such a great moment to feel like you do actually have a voice and that people are listening to you. So just embrace it. It's so much fun. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue through the presentation. We got some other great questions that we're definitely going to get to, but I want to make sure we get through all the material for everyone before the 8 o'clock hour. So now Susan's going to walk us through the conference agenda and show us where you can find that information. And while she's talking, I'm actually going to share my screen and demonstrate where to find this information. So Susan,
okay,
it's up to you now. All right.
Okay, terrific. Thank you very much. Okay, the screen is really changing, Ricky.
Oh, there we go. Is it not changing?
Okay.
Or? There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about the schedule of the conference. Okay, and just like Amy just mentioned right now, if you have not been to a group start workshop, then we highly recommend that you attend the climate advocate training. This is the most important training we do at CCL. The training at the conference will be led by Ellie Sparks, our Director of Field Development. It will be on Sunday at 10:15 a.m. The basic basis of this workshop is to educate you on the structure, methodology, and skills of becoming effective communicators and advocates for our policy to address climate change. So if you can see the schedule from there, it goes on. I lost it, Ricky.
That's okay. Go ahead.
There we go. Yeah. So workshop is going on. There are 2 other presentations. So if you are pretty familiar with the Group Start workshop, there are other options. We're having a proactive outreach. session, which will be for those of you who would like to give CCL presentations. You can get new information about new slides, new techniques there. We're also, these are actually staggered workshops being offered at the same time. There's a move over misconception workshop being offered. Those are the listening skills. And then there will also be, for those of you who like to write, Steve also will be leading a workshop on writing letters to the editor and op-ed. Okay. Any questions?
So the other thing, just real quick, I think the other thing we wanted to touch on was just that if folks have questions at this Sunday night reception, which it is a cash bar, there will be all kinds of volunteers and staff, regional coordinators and interns, and everyone will be at this reception to answer any types of questions for you.
Yeah, you're right. I just turned the page, and so now I want to mention too also about the app, that we do have a smartphone app that you might want to download onto your phone, and then that way you can have the program available for you anytime, at the touch of a button on your and there are FAQs on the website, so if you have a question, you can always go to the FAQs in that section. But yeah, that's true. The Sunday night reception will have staff, regional coordinators, and interns there who will be able to answer your questions.
Awesome. And we'll go through and show folks how to download the app here in just a few moments. So just hang tight. That's at the end of the presentation. Let me go back to the presentation here. And what we're going to talk about now is where to find these breakout rooms. So on Monday afternoon, we got tons and tons of breakouts. So where are they located? So as Susan talked about earlier, we're going to be here in this Regency Gallery area, and there are a couple of breakout rooms down here on this level. There's the Ambassador Ballroom and the Empire Room that are, on that same lobby, on that same level. But then if you find really the majority of the breakout rooms, you're going to go back up the stairs that you came down to begin with, and then you'll see that there's this, and here's the arrow, you coming up the stairs, and you'll see that there's all these different rooms over here with the X's on them. I mean, these are all your breakout rooms are going to be located, and there'll be signage as well that'll direct you and let you know where you need to go. And of course, you'll have your schedule with you as well, but there'll be signage clearly labeled. Sometimes it gets a little confusing. The Omni Shore is an older hotel, and things aren't always laid out great, but you can ask anybody where things are. So right now we're going to ask, Susan's going to talk a little bit more sort of about the logistics of, how do we get over to Capitol Hill from the hotel, or just how do you get to Capitol Hill in general, and go over some of the information about the Metro line.
Okay, thanks, Ricky. Yeah, Capitol Hill is it's a 4-minute. Okay, we're recommending taking the Metro from the hotel to Capitol Hill, and for those of you who are not at the hotel, still getting to the Metro is the best way. You take whichever line to Union Station. But let's start at the Omni, where you go to the Woodley Park Station, you exit the hotel, you turn right as you leave the hotel and walk up 24th Street Northwest to the Woodley Park Station. You catch the Metro Red line. These run frequently. You will want to have already purchased your Metro card before you get there. You want to be ready to go Tuesday morning. Okay, so once you get to the Union Station stop, you get out of the Metro, and I think you have to take an escalator. No, at Union Station, right, you do. You take an escalator, you leave the station, you walk through the park to Capitol Hill. There'll be a bunch of people, so just follow the crowd. We're heading toward the side of the Capitol that faces the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress. We're going to meet at the steps closest to Union Station Tuesday morning. And you want to be there early. We're going to take our group photo, the big group photo that Ricky showed us earlier. We do every year on Tuesday at Lobby Day. So you want to be in that. We take the photo at 8:15 sharp. So please plan on being there by 8 o'clock so we can get all in position. Okay, so now another word about the Metro card. You might during a break on Sunday or Monday, you want to maybe head down to the metro station and buy your card ahead of time. There is a plastic, they call it a Smart Trip card, which is rechargeable. Some people do like to do that in case they do, they want to have more than just one metro card, and it's rechargeable, very easy to use. It's the kind that you just hold over the sensor and it'll open the kiosk for you, as opposed to the other kind is a little ticket that sometimes gets jammed. So you have both of those options for the metro. And then after we take the picture, everyone heads out to the Senate and office buildings to their first meeting. Okay, and that will get you to Capitol Hill. I'm going to turn you over to Amy.
Great, thanks, Susan. Look, we're almost finished, and I'm going to talk about what do you do with your meeting minutes and how do you take notes for your lobby meetings. This is a very critical role. The meeting minutes, they document the concerns and the questions that the Congress members or their staffers have. And it documents the level of support and allows us to do a detailed analysis of where Congress stands and how support is growing. Danny Richter, our legislative director, looks at those notes and really is able to analyze and document the movement, so we get a sense of how things are going. The form that you see right here is actually a carbonless carbon copy. The top cover is white. On the back side of that is some added directions on how to on taking minute notes. And then there's a yellow copy below that. So the CCL meeting team leader confirms who can commit to this important role. Can that minute taker do the following? Can they write legible notes? You need a hard pad with a firm surface to write on. Can they focus on what the Congress members we request that you focus on what the Congress members and the congressional staffers say, not so much on what we say. And here's the tip. Once you've entered the full name on your notes, then just use initials for the rest of the way so you can write faster. We actually suggest taking the notes on a plain pad to begin with and then debrief immediately after the meeting, then write them on this form. That way you can really confirm that what you thought you heard, because sometimes things move quite quickly, confirm with the entire group. And again, right after the meeting, we like to ask people to stick around for a few minutes right outside the office and debrief. Make sure if there's any questions you get the notes correctly. Do note that we want the legislator first name, last name, and all of the attendees. It's important to catch which ones are constituents, which ones aren't, what is the staffer's name in the meeting, and then when you do go to enter this online, which we'll talk about in a moment, you want to be sure to get all those constituent names in there. So if you rewrite the notes on the form, be sure you press down very hard so it's legible. Submit that online. I strongly suggest typing that into Word before you cut and paste it into the online form. You paste it, and this web address will be on the form, so you don't have to write this down. You're going to put it into www.citizensclimatelobby.org/minutes. But I do suggest type them into Word first and save it. Then when you're ready to put it into the online reporting form, that you can just cut and paste it in. And again, be sure you list all meeting participants in the text box online. You want to give the top copy of that form to a designated staff person, and we're going to have a box at the reception at the Omni where you can drop off that form. They'll say meeting minutes right on the box. Probably it'll be right up by the podium where Mark is going to speak. Then save the yellow copy yourself. Please make a record, perhaps on your phone. We definitely want to get all those meetings in that night, but if we have to track down a few, we'll be calling the meeting leader to find out who has the meeting. And as a special note, there's no vacations to the Bahamas or Europe before the minute takers get those meetings are submitted. We'll be happy to go to the Bahamas for you. So be sure you get your minutes in online before you head off from Washington, D.C. to Europe or wherever you're headed, and then you can have a great time. So that's the scoop on minutes. Ricky, back to you.
Awesome, thanks. And Amy will track you down, so don't make sure you get your meeting minutes in. She will go on vacation with you. So one last final thing, and then we're going to open up for questions. We did talk about there's an app, or Susan referred to the fact that we do have an app for the conference this year. So you can see on your screen, go to the App Store, the Google Play Store, and you can search for Grenadine Event Guide. And here I'll show you real quick just where it is. I'm showing you my screen again. So I'm on the Google Play Store now. You can see, hopefully you see, I'm on where it says Event Guide, Grenadine. When you click on install, or if you're at the, the iTunes Store, which I don't have an Apple, so it's probably going to look a little different for you guys. But you can see, it has this little red wheel. That's the Grenadine Event Guide. When you download it, like I said, it will, and you install it and launch it, it's going to ask you for an event code. And you'll just type in the event code, CCL. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? There you go, case sensitive. Thank you, Susan. It's not case sensitive, so you can just type in CCL and 2016. And you'll have the guide. We're trying to do some other things and put like some of the training materials and like our asks and different things like that in it. That's not a guarantee yet, but hopefully we'll have something. We'll have that ready, set up for everyone before the conference. All right, so the schedule and everything. So you can totally keep your schedule on your smartphone if you prefer to. All right, so we are going to open it up for questions for the rest of the evening. We got about 15 minutes or so. So why don't we start? Let me open up the question section here again. Let's over to the side. Let's see if there's any hands up right now. Yeah, we got a hand up. So Brian, I see Brian with his hand up, Lupiani. I guess that's how you say it. I hope I'm not butchering your name. I'm going to unmute your line, Brian, if you'll let us know where you're joining us from, and fire away with your question.
Hey, I'm from Tallahassee, Florida.
Hi.
All right, thanks for taking
question, Brian. Yeah, sure.
We're going to be staying off-site, and I'm just wondering if there's parking available for conference attendees at the hotel, and if so, if you know if it's if there's a fee for parking.
That is a great question.
It is a great question. Yeah. And, we have not been able to negotiate any kind of a discount for parking. Yeah, I waited. So there is a parking fee there. I believe last summer it was something like $25 a day. I will find the answer to that question and see if I can get that to you.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
This is Amy.
Why don't you look that up, and we'll. Amy, go ahead. I'm sorry. Did you have that?
I believe there is a fee, and I don't think it's inexpensive. We really recommend if you can park outside of the city and take the metro. Cars are pretty difficult to park in Washington. And do be aware there are some metro lines that are going to be under construction. We've been researching getting to the hotel and back and forth from the hill, and there should not be a problem there. But sadly, parking is not inexpensive in DC.
Yeah. I would just, I've taken Uber around DC before too, and it's really cheap and much cheaper than the parking at the hotel. So let's go. Thanks for the question, Brian. Bill has a question in the chat box, and I'll ask that real quick. Bill asked, will there be an opportunity to meet in some formal way with other chapter members or leaders from my state, and that's New Jersey? I want to give them some constituent comments forms and things that they can use in their lobbying. And Bill, the answer to that is yes. Actually, on Sunday afternoon, you're probably going to be sick of your team and all your folks, because they're going to have 3 hours together, or maybe 2.5 hours together. I can't remember the exact amount of time, but that's for a state and regional planning session that your regional coordinator is putting together. So there will be definitely some time dedicated for you folks to get together as a state, and then if you have anything you want to hand off to the rest of your team or your state mates, you can do so at that time. Let's see. Mike asks, and Amy, I'll let you handle this one. Mike Menzel asks, are there CCL folders available to place the materials we wish to give to the congressman or congresswoman?
Actually, we do not have folders available. What we find is less is more in what we leave behind. I know the temptation is this is your one chance to leave something behind, but keep in mind these staffers and Congress members can have up to 20 meetings in a day. So if you give them too much, it's really less than just giving them the ask. And then I suggest you consult with your meeting team to decide what it is you're going to ask. Oftentimes at the end of the meeting, what we'll say is we'll usually give them the regular ask that we have, that one page. But the other question we ask is, would you like materials electronically or in paper? And most of the time they want it electronically because it's easier for them to file. So the folder is just something extra. Literally the one-page ask is often the best thing without a folder. Even though the folders look nice, it's those 20 meetings, they just will start to pile up for the staffers and for the Congress members. Good question, though.
Yeah, and it's just been my experience as well, and I'll just add what Amy's saying, is that they really appreciate when you ask them what other information they want versus giving them the information they want versus the information we think they want, and they really seem to appreciate that. So you don't have to drop everything off right then. If they say they want you to follow up with the data from the British Columbia carbon tax, then hey, yeah, I'll send that to you by email. We'll get that to you after the meeting. So let's see. Another question. Can we ask our representative or congressman to join the Climate Solutions Caucus? Amy, I think where we are
I
right
can
now
answer
with
that.
Go ahead.
We are still being asked not to suggest that they join it, but you can certainly talk up how great it is. In other words, the caucus itself is saying not to have us send people to them, but what we can do is talk about how great this concept is, and the concept is that members join just like Noah's Ark, a Democrat and a Republican joining together. So if we give them that information without suggesting that they go talk to somebody about it, they'll take it from there. And the caucus has asked us not to tell them to go contact them directly. So I think that is a nice middle ground to talk it up, but that's it.
This sounds like a good thing to ask Mark or Danny to bring up Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that will be part
Ricky,
of the training.
Is that where, Ricky, am I saying that correctly? I believe that's still where we're at.
Yeah, we're still there right now, and if anything changes prior to the conference, I'm sure we're going to be talking about that Sunday night. So just stay tuned, Mike. Believe me, we are trying to get them to allow us to do that. We're working really hard behind the scenes, but ultimately, it's we want to respect their decision at this point. Let's see, a couple other questions, or just a comment from Abaya. She says, bring 2 phone chargers. That makes a lot of sense, right? Preferably one with a portable charging stick. Being in touch and not letting your phone, run out of battery or out of charge in DC will be very important for communicating back and forth to your team. So, yeah, I agree. Abaya, great comment. Catherine. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Amy. Amy, I have an addition to that. If you're bringing a laptop, or if you're needing to get onto the business, the hotel business center's computer, I know a lot of us are used to getting onto our email from home, but not necessarily on somebody else's computer. So if you forget your password to get into your Gmail or your Hotmail account, bring it with you, because if you're not bringing a computer, you may indeed need to use the hotel computers to access that. And I have way too many passwords, so I usually jot down the key passwords that I think I might need in DC so I can have access. So that might be applicable to some of you. Others of you may be bringing a laptop or some type of a device. Both in the House and now the Senate finally have, in the cafeterias, have access to Wi-Fi, and those passwords will be in those guest passwords for access in Russell. On the House side and on the Senate side will be in the program.
Great.
Right, and the Wi-Fi for the hotel will also be in the program.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and we also just real quick on the charging, we will be providing a charging station too for people whose phones do die. We're going to have a charging station.
Oh, awesome. And Susan's going to be in charge of that, so ask her
No.
where the charging station is. All right.
I do have an answer on the parking question too. I called the hotel. It's $49 a day to park at the hotel. $49.
Yeah. So Uber is definitely cheaper than parking at the hotel, for sure. All right. Okay, so Catherine asks, will there be a map on the phone app? Catherine, I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty sure I'm almost positive there's not one. That's a good suggestion, something we hadn't considered. Honestly, I'll tell you, I probably don't think we'll have that taken care of in time. So I would suggest just using any other map app to route, any directions that you need. I don't think we're going to be able to get that done in time, just given everything else we've got to get done. Yeah, go ahead.
There will be a map on the back of the program.
Oh, look at that. We did it the old-fashioned way. No,
the old-fashioned kind. Yeah.
I like it. Awesome. Some lady named Sarah Sosa is asking a question in the chat window. She says, this is Sarah from our home office. She wants, which rooms in the hotel are open during the conference? And I believe that's for Saturday. We said there will be some rooms that will be open for pre-lobby meeting planning.
That is a great question. And we know what we'll have to put signs up and make that real clear on Saturday. We'll do that.
Okay.
And for those who are coming and would like to meet with their teams on Sunday or Monday, we are suggesting that you plan ahead, loop everybody into a group email, your meeting teams, and set a time during one of the meal periods. Some of the breaks are a little bit longer to meet and review your meeting plan.
Absolutely. What we'll try to do, Sarah, I think it's a great question. What we might try to do is, we'll see if we can't get that information out to people maybe prior to the conference or in some way, maybe in the weekly briefing or through some other kind of communication. That's a great question, though. Anne asks, is the internet free at the hotel for us to use our personal computers? If so, is there a password for the internet? I think we already said there's a password for the internet, but I guess the question, Susan and Amy, is it free for guests or is it also free in the lobby for non-guests, right? Wouldn't that be the...
Right. It will be free in the lobby for non-guests. Sometimes if you're in your room, you want to get on your room Wi-Fi, and I believe Wi-Fi is included in our room rate if you have a room at the hotel. And because you might not have as much traffic on your own as you would in the lobby. So
great. Abaya asks a question here, and I guess she's referring back to, we said don't bring try not to bring a folder with a bunch of information you think that that they need. She's asking, but shouldn't we bring constituent comment forms and that type of thing? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. That's information that they definitely want. So they want any type of communication from constituents that you have, whether it be endorsement letters or comment forms, postcards, absolutely. Anything that you would normally just mail into DC, you can bring it with you to sort of up your game or to strengthen the impact that you're going to have in that office to show that you have constituent support. So didn't mean to confuse that with, hey, we think you should read this report, which is something different than the constituent comments. Does that make sense? Susan or Amy, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I'm really glad. That was a great question because I've had members say they're collecting hundreds of constituent comments just to make an impression. So that's awesome. Yeah. Bring them on.
I think that one could go either way. Often I've seen on TV where a member of Congress, or even in some of the old movies, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, where they will bring in stacks of paper. And there's something to be said for the visual of a stack of paper. So I think it's up to whatever you want to do.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree. It is. It should be up to the office, and yeah, if you feel like you have that kind of relationship, then bring it in. Absolutely. Let's see. Susan Cabrera. Susan asks, are some member of Congress's offices in the Capitol building?
I can take that one, Ricky. This is Amy, and yes, there are members that usually have an office both if they are in leadership. For instance, someone like Barbara Boxer, Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, they'll have an office on the Senate side or the House side, but they will also, those top leadership positions often have an office in the Capitol. And the meeting may be in either one, depending, you just look on your schedule. If you happen to see that you are in one of those meetings, and there's very few, I would say, there might be a handful of meetings this year that will be in the Capitol building. You do need to leave yourself time to walk over, and there are sometimes more stringent security concerns. So I know in years past they have said don't bring beverages or food, and that's just to get through security. So I just give you a tip on that. It will say in your schedule if your meeting happens to be in the Capitol building, and you are going to need to leave yourself a few more minutes to walk that distance from either the Senate side or the House side to the Capitol.
Great. Thanks, Amy. We got about 2 minutes left, and I see that there's a hand raised. That Allison's raised her hand again. Let's go to Allison. I'm going to unmute your line and go ahead and fire away with your question.
Hi, yeah. I stepped away for a moment to make a cup of coffee, so I hope this isn't a repetitive question. Is there an app for the, one question, is there an app for the traveling, the Metro? And also, when purchasing Metro a card, how much should someone purchase if they're only
question. Yes.
conference? Yeah. I'm going to be driving.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Susan. You feel you probably got the best answers to those.
Right. Well, if you're driving and you're only going to use the Metro on Tuesday, you can probably get away with just buying a one-day card for $8 to $10. If you're going to be staying at the hotel and doing some sightseeing, then that's when you might want to consider buying one of those Smart Trip cards. And those start at $10, but they have $8 of value on them, and you can recharge them. But just one day of getting to and from the hotel and back would probably be somewhere between $5 and $6. It just depends. Some hours of the day are high traffic and they charge more for the same ride. So when you go purchase your card, they actually have charts, and you can buy the exact fare that you'll need if you want.
Great. All right. Well, we've reached the top of the hour.
Can I say one last thing, Ricky?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I did text Ashley for those of you who are liaisons, and she said, yes, you can still submit your meeting plan.
Ah, okay. Did she give us a deadline, or did she just say yes?
She just said yes.
Okay, great.
So do it
All right,
today.
well.
Do it today before she says no.
Exactly. I'm going to get on mine right now. I appreciate that. All right. Well, I do want to just take time to appreciate, Amy Bennett, Lord, for her to take the time out to go through this information with us today while she's trying to help, 535 people schedule meetings is above and beyond. So, Amy, thanks so much for being here and helping us out tonight, and Susan, you as well. Not that you don't do anything either, but, Amy's probably pulling her hair out right now. So, thanks so much to you guys. This is the last CLU for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Obviously, we're going to be in D.C., and then we're taking a little bit of the July off to do some things. So there won't be another CCLU for a while. If you guys need to refresh yourself on any of the lobbying webinars, go to the CCL community, click on the CCU tab, click on the lobbying section, and all the lobbying webinars are there. We're going to be sending out some more information, the weekly briefing, the newsletter about just where everybody can find those things in the next couple of days. So thanks, everyone. You guys have a great evening, and we'll see you all in D.C., and I can't wait